Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This live stream is the Comics Today show that we have been doing for 30 plus weeks on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And I definitely want to welcome everybody to the show. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos in any way, shape, or form, I want to personally invite you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that gets released from my channel. I release videos few times per week and also do a few live streams. We release a podcast and also a blog post every single week. So you definitely do not want to miss that content, because our mission here is to help you to make sense of comic book collecting. And I think that generally people find some value in the content that I release. But this show right here, Comics Today, is a live stream that we do. And I typically have a guest or two on the show to help me to make sense of something that is happening in the world of comics. And I actually have two return guests on tonight's show, and we're going to spend some time talking about Milestone Comics. We're going to talk about Static and everything that is happening in this DC possibly related imprint that's been resurrected after like 2 decades. We are going to dig into it in just a few moments. And as a reminder, what you are listening to right now is also going to be released on our podcast. We released that on Monday. So you might want to take a little bit of Regie on the go. If you can't watch the whole show, you can actually listen to it on the podcast a little bit later. So with that said, I'm actually going to go to the chat here, and I'm actually going to ask those folks that are in the chat to let us know if you hit up your LCS today and you picked up some good books. Let us know what you picked up. If there is something that you happen to read that is pretty solid and you think we should put it on the top of our stacks, let us know that as well. And if you want to shout out your LCS, go ahead and do that. Because again, this is a celebration of New Comic Book Day, and LCSs are an important part of that. And I will tell you, I did not make it to the LCS today. I have been struggling for the last couple of days with internet outages that you would not believe. Like, it was risky as to whether I was even going to go live today. That's how bad the internet has been. But we have been up for the better part of today without any interruptions. And so fingers crossed that things actually continue. So again, going to go to the chat here in a hot second and see what it is that you all may have picked up. I think Sleigh Bells came out earlier today from Bad Idea. And I think my buddy Scott P actually picked that up. I think this guy is like 8 for 8 or how many ever issues have come out for a Bad Idea where he's actually picked up the gold button. I don't know what the prize is at the end, but he should get a surprise. You know, if you have picked up all these buttons, you should get a prize for something like that. DC Do says, my internet is cutting out as well. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, brother. And then we were expecting these storms here in North Carolina, so I had to go get gas to make sure the generator is powered up just in case the power goes out. So I'm trying to prepare as best I can. My man, Mark Andrews, never lets me down. Awesome Canadian. He picked up some books here. Nice House on the Lake, issue number 2, Carmen 5, The Good Asian Geiger. Oh, love that. Noctera, I absolutely love that. A couple of other books in here that I'm not familiar with, to be honest. Ordinary Gods, I've never even heard of that. And Fight Girls. That is I saw that one earlier today. I can't remember who the artist is on that one, but I saw something where they were promoting the artist and the fact that he had this new book coming out. So shout out to you, Mark Andrews, for supporting your LCS, picking up some awesome books right there. Desire Comics, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through, Steve says, check out Fight Girls. That's what's up. That's what's up. Scrolling through. Oh, my goodness. Rush Diehard, another Canadian, says he spent $173 today. Woo, you got a big stack. Well, you may not have gotten a big stack. I don't know what you bought, so I don't want to assume that it's a big stack, but 173 is a nice chunk of money. I'm pretty sure your LCS loves you, brother. Crypt Keeper says, hoping to get to the LCS tomorrow on vacation in Fort Myers. That's what's up, man. That is what's up. I hope everybody out there is enjoying their vacations if they did take some. Steve says, Nice House on the Lake number 2 came out the gate hard. I have not read it. Nice House on the Lake issue number 1, I will tell you, I thought was fantastic. Thought it was fantastic, so much so that I bought multiple copies of issue number 1. As soon as I read it, I was like, let me pick it up. Brother, we try to keep it high and dry, talking about the 100K collection. And again, for everybody, the 100K is not the dollar amount. It is the number of books. I get a lot of messages about that. So I want to keep repeating it because we do have a lot of people that are coming to the channel. We also have a lot of people that don't necessarily see every single video. So bear with me if you are one of those folks that watch everything. Bear with me. There is a reason why I repeat it. Almighty Liger King, good to see you, brother. What is that? There was a comment here. Let me scroll up. I lost it. DC Dude says, picked up Nice House, Swamp Thing, Suicide Squad, Masters of the Universe. Couple of good books there. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Scrolling through the names. Yes, indeed. Image is on fire because Geiger and Nocterra are both incredible comics. They are both incredible. I enjoy them. I actually have a couple of Nocterra 4 sitting over here. I picked up a couple of the variants sitting off to the side. And had some people ask me the other day about whether I feel like variants, store variants, exclusive variants, ratio variants are going to be worth money. You know, it's not, for me, it's not always about the money. Sometimes I just really like the cover or I really like the story and I am a collector and reader. So I buy it because it's like good stuff. And if it turns out to be worth some money, that's even more better. Nerdscape says, picked up Nice House on the Lake #1. That's very good. Very good. Thank you, brother. Almighty Liger King. I appreciate that. Fight Girls is Frank Chose. Thank you. I appreciate that. Scrolling through the comments here, Rush, he spent $173 on 29 books. That, sir, is a nice stack of comics. Okay, that is a nice stack of comics. I think you may have the record. I think you and L. Smith are like running for the record here in terms of the number of books you guys pick up. You guys are awesome. From Heroes to Icons, a fantastic artist right here. Love this guy. Wonder Girl, Firepower, Geiger, Nocterra, Skybound 1. Fight Girls, couple of really cool books. That's what's up, man. That's good stuff right there. Squirrel Madness was like 29 books. Wow. Well done. Who was that? Pad Bear J picked up Batman 110, the Momoko variant of ASM 70. Nice House on the Lake, X-Men 1. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I need to get that one. I need to get that one. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the X-Men 1. Brother, we don't need any kind of hurricanes, okay? We don't need hurricanes. No, we don't. And I'm an introvert, so I'm okay with the party and I'm okay with the hurricanes. I'm going to pass on both of those things. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Hey, believe it or not, Tina, there are some people that do not watch my videos. As hard as that is for us to believe, you know, there's a couple of people that do not check it out. You know, fingers crossed that we continue to grow and get more people pulled into this wonderful hobby and also channel that I think that we have. Scrolling through the comments here, Almighty Liger King says he forgot about Nice House on the Lake 2. Darn it, he says. Sixth Face Comics is shouting out Inkblot. Who is the publisher for Inkblot? I'm not familiar with that one. Is it Six Face Comics? Is that the publisher? I'm joking. I'm joking. Give us the publisher, brother. Let us know because I am not familiar with that one. America Chavez, my man Chuck, Geiger, Bounty Hunters, and a couple of other books, including The Good Asian and Hellions. Good stuff. Scrolling through the comments, again, just fantastic stuff that you guys are able to make it to your LCSs and give some support to them and pick up some really good stuff, man. That is fantastic. I love the blue wrenches. If I'm ever having a bad day or feeling down about myself, I reach out to a blue wrench and they just make me feel so much better. Shout out to you guys. I definitely appreciate your continued support. Oh, L. Smith, how you doing? He said almost didn't make it because of the traffic. Picked up X-Men 1, all the Nocterra reprints and Nottingham reprints and many more. That's what's up. How many Nocterra do you have? Because the only guy that I know that has more Nocterra at this point is what is his name? And I just blanked on it. And I say his name all the time. Oh, that one got away from me. It may come back to me. That one may come back to me. Peter's giving a shout out here for Slow City Blues. Slow City Blues. They are in their last, I think, like 5 hours or by this point, maybe 4 or 3 hours of their campaign. They have more than doubled what it was that they were trying to do. So shout out to those guys. I think Sam is actually headed off to go get married. I was talking to him earlier today in the middle of my workout. We were going back and forth just a little bit. So shout out to those guys for putting it down. And again, if you want to pick up one of those variants for Slow City Blues, the fence variant, which is my variant, which is going to be made out of foil, you can actually head over to regiecollects.com and go ahead and snatch that up. But again, you have a couple of hours to be able to support these guys. They're giving away some original art pages and some other stuff as they close out their campaign. So try to support them if you can. Scrolling down, I think I'm all caught up. Who is that? Jericho, I think that's how you say that. Fight Girls, Nice House, X-Men 1, a couple of other cool books in here. Geiger, Carmen. We see Ordinary Gods again, a couple of Skybound books. Ooh, the Time Before Time. I have not read that issue. Have I read issue number 2? No, I don't think so. I read issue number 1, and that was pretty good. Joe, it's good to see you, brother, as always. All right, so again, this is a celebration of New Comic Book Day, and that's why I wanted to shout out all the folks. Thank you. Super honorable nephew. I don't know how I blanked on his name. This guy. Like, I think he thinks it's a competition between he and I, right? Like, I love Noctera, but I think he like really, really wants to love Noctera more than me. So he has like all the variants out there. But shout out to Super Honorable Nephew. Awesome guy. Absolutely enjoy him. There you go. He has all the variants. All right. So again, this is a celebration of New Comic Book Day, which is why I always like the show to start off with talking about the books that came out this week, because we have to support. We have to support the hobby. We have to make sure people are aware of what's out there. We have to continue to buy these books because it's important for the future of the hobby. So that's part of the reason why we do that. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are also going to spend a little bit of time talking about Milestone Comics. And we started this conversation a couple of weeks ago. It was a little delayed because there were some other things I had to slot into place, but now I'm able to get my 2 guests on, and we are going to spend some time building upon the conversation that was started a few weeks ago. And I need to take my banner off, or else they're going to have some things across their foreheads. So I want to welcome these 2 gentlemen to the show. Steve, Donald, it is good to see you guys.
Oh, great to see you too, Reg.
Greetings, good people. How you doing?
This guy's voice. Every time,
know, right?
Every time. So check it out. So I think I told you this. I actually did a little bit of voiceover work for my job. So
you did.
So instead of hiring a voice actor, I was my own voice actor, and I got the final video today. I was like, "Ooh, I sound good."
There you go.
I was like, "Ooh, I'm actually proud of myself." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think all of us have a great radio voice. I think that all of us can do something with voiceovers and the like. So I think
I just want to be the bad guy. The bad guys have more fun. I gotta be the bad guy.
You might be right, but check it out, man. So something we're gonna get to a little bit later today might be like some media, some cartoons or some stuff that could happen.
Exactly.
Maybe this is our audition tape. Okay, so we need to put on a show because this might be the audition tape. Okay.
All right, hold on, brother. Before we get started, I saw a video a little while back. The blue wrenches.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to get at us. You know,
that's right.
You know, they were trying to get at us. And my man Matt, I know he likes Conan, but he won't have a problem. All right. All right.
That's right.
You want to bring that wrench?
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought this was the Black Assassins Guild celebration of Shuriken.
There you go.
Where do you guys get this stuff from, man? I only have one sword in my house and some steak knives.
We're gonna bring it in. And to the other guys, I want my card, my punch card, because I need. Yes, I didn't get no punch card. I didn't get my punch card. All right, I would only get 2 holes.
Yes, Master Blaster. Shout out to Master Blaster. Thank you so much. I'm on number 4. I have to punch out my number 4 right there.
I never got my card.
So, you gotta talk to Master Blaster. He's the one who created those great cards.
If you miss a video, people, then you won't get these jokes. This is some funny stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is why you don't miss videos, because you would miss out on all this humor that is being displayed right now.
Exactly. Some blue wrenches, come get it.
His blue wrench was pretty big.
No, yeah. I think it'll break my sword. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, I think Matt might be able to, do those things a little bit to block the shuriken. So.
Oh man, I see a treadmill back there, brother. I see.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm on when I call you the last time, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He messaged me from the treadmill, and then I had to message him back when I was on the treadmill. Like, what's going on? You working out?
First of all, I saw the video of the house, bro. I need to come by. Not the crib. I don't need to see the crib. I need to drive that little. Yeah, man. That car. Oh my God.
Right.
I need one of those.
That's right. Yeah, man.
I took that thing through the woods the other day.
I see. I told my wife, she was like, "Is that his property?" He's riding around. I was like,
"Oh no! I know. I literally took it through the woods, like rough and tumble through the woods, because I was like, well, let's see if it can do it." And I was just like, "Please don't get stuck." All right,
you really took the test drive out of that,
brother. I have fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, I got to get myself back on track because I can do this right here all day. So Steve, earlier today you released a quick Instagram snippet saying that you were going to be on the show, and in your snippet you basically said back by popular demand, and you were like, just kidding. But here's the truth, bro. There were a lot of people that reached out to me after you all appeared on the last show, thanking me for doing that show with the two of you. And there were a lot of people that commented on the video, but there were a lot of people that sent me personal messages saying, "Hey, thank you. This was an important video. We appreciate you doing this. Thank you for, in some cases, making yourself vulnerable and talking about some things." I received a lot of messages from folks for about 2 weeks after that video came out. And that's not an exaggeration. And so when you said that, I was like, well, actually, there were a lot of people that were like, "Hey, can you bring them back?" So that's part of the reason why you guys are back. So thank you both.
Thank you
so much. That really means
a lot to me. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I also got a lot of great positive feedback on
I did too. I
know you did too, Steve.
So that's part of what I was going to ask you, was whether people had reached out to you the way that they reached out to me, because that, as I mentioned to you guys before, like that conversation could have went so many different ways, right? And I was pleased at how it went, and I was even more pleased by the response. So, Steve, let me hear, did people reach out to you? And if so, what were the things that they were kind of saying about the last conversation that we had? I'm just curious.
Well, a lot of people did reach out to me. One in particular reached out. The gentleman name kind of escapes me right now, but he did reach out, and he said that he thought the same thing. He went through his collection and he was like, what am I doing? Why don't I have these? And like he said, he doesn't buy them just because they're black comic books. He bought them if they're good comic books, bad comic, but he didn't have a lot of them. And it had to make him look at himself to say, is it me? Am I straying away from this because it's me? Or is it just because it's a bad book? But he thanked me. He was like, I've been thinking this way for a very long time. And he was like, I'm very glad that somebody said it, because I've always wanted to say it.
Yep. Donald, did you have some comments there, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of great comments about that show. My wife was one. She said that's one of the best shows that I've seen in a long time, and it was like that was very poignant, not just to her but to other people who don't necessarily collect comics, and that's what was very impressive to me. That people who don't necessarily collect comics, because that's what my actually both of our YouTube videos are kind of geared towards, just to educate those who are not familiar with comics.
Right.
And I got a lot of people just on my videos saying that was a great video and interview that you all did, because that perspective is not necessarily put out there.
Yep.
So I got a lot of great comments as well.
And that's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. So thank you both for that insight. So I wanted to have you guys back on to continue that conversation to some degree or another, right? Because last time we spoke about Milestone Return, Infinite Edition 0, and then we had a broader conversation about who we are as collectors and what we collect and why we collect what we collect and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to have you guys back to continue that discussion. And I wanted to start it around Static Season 1, issue number 1. And I had a chance to read this book. I think you guys did as well. So I want to ask a very general question, right? And just for those that haven't seen this is a really awesome book from Vida Ayala. I think that's how you say her name, and illustrated by Chris Cross. And I actually reached out to Chris Cross after I read the issue. I was like, hey, this is a good book. Can I get some of this original art? He was like, I'm all digital. I was like, okay, never mind. Because I don't want to buy NFTs. I bought one the other day. I still don't quite understand what I saw that. I don't understand what I bought, but I bought it. And I'm like, oh, I got an NFT. Am I rich now? So a really awesome book, that being Static Season 1. I'm going to go to you, Donald, first. And I want to get like your general impression of this book, right? Because I'm sure you read it. What's your general thought as you step away from that? And then Steve, I'm going to go to you second.
I thought that Static Season 1 started off very well. Mm-hmm. I liked the art. I liked the story. I liked how they kind of started at the beginning. Because I actually, like you, Steve, I reread Static, the original Static. And in that original Static, he had already had his powers. So in this version, they kind of started a little earlier. I think that Milestone Returns number 0 set everything up very well, and then it kind of goes into it seems like it's shooting off into their separate characters. So Static Season 1, I thought, started off very well as far as his origin story, and I thought that it was well told. I'm looking forward to a lot more, but I have more to say, but I'm gonna pass that on to Steve.
Yeah, Steve, what's your thought? What's your general impression on this thing?
My general impression is the same, pretty much. It's I like the fact that they kind of started extending it from the 0 issue, and they kind of told the story. I met Vida, and the writer, and I know her from cons, and we've talked from time to time, and Vida, her storytelling is really well done, but like you, I'm waiting for the next kind of issues to kind of fill out the story, and believe me, I'm waiting for it because I can't wait for the next one. That was my thing. So it was it's good.
Do you think that it was better than the original story, or was it very similar to the original story? Like, I'm curious as to what your thoughts were on that. Like, did they advance the story, or was it more like, hey, let me continue introducing you to this character that you may not have heard of before, right? What's your thought? And Steve, you want to go first, and then Donald, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I think it's more of in my opinion, more of a reintroduction. Yeah. It's more of a, hey, if you don't know who Static is, here you are. But if you do know who Static is, here's some tidbits that you already know about him that you're like, oh yeah, I remember this from this book. I remember this from that, his mom, his dad, his best friend. But I noticed, like we said before, that they took the elements from the show instead of like the book. Like his best friend is more geared toward the show than it was to the actual comic book. Because if you read the comic book, his friends weren't the same as it is in this version of it now. So they realized how popular his friends were and how they were more cemented in the story, in the animation. So they were like, okay, you know what? Let's bring him into the comic as well. So I enjoyed it.
Donald, what did you pick up on that? Did you pick up on the friend switch?
Nope, I did not, because I never saw the show. I never saw the
great show.
Neither did I.
Yeah, it's on what is it on HBO now?
It's like back now.
Max,
so I got to go back and see. Mm-hmm. But I thought that just in reading the original comic, I noticed there were certain similarities that they made and certain changes that they made in other things that I thought was appropriate. Like you said, Steve, I thought it was a good reintroduction for those of us who are not familiar with Static. I think that the hype of it got a lot of readers to be excited about it, which is good. And I thought that it was a great start. I thought.
Do you think that there was enough substance in that issue? And this is not a loaded question. Do you think that there was enough substance in there to pay off some of the hype that might have existed, that might have pulled people in? Was there this for people to be like, yes, I want to come back for issue number 2? What's your thought?
I thought that this was the first part of the fuse.
Okay.
I think that it was a beginning. Mm-hmm. So we have, I think, 6 more issues to go.
I think five.
Or 5. Yeah.
I think it's like a total of 6.
Right. So I think we have 5 more issues to go. And I think this is a good part of the first part of the fuse that I think that it did live up to the hype.
Okay.
As far as, so I think that as it gets further down the fuse, that it will pay off wholly at the end.
As an artist, Steve, I'm curious what your thought was around the artistic approach that Chris took, and hopefully you don't know him too, right?
No, I don't know Chris. I wish I did, but
what's your thought as you looked at that comic?
It was a beautifully well done book. Not to cut you off, Reggie, but it was a beautifully well done book. The storytelling flowed perfectly. Like when I read a book, especially with the artwork, if I have to go back and go, wait, what just happened? That kind of throws me away from the story. But as I'm going, it just flows directly through the story. So I enjoyed it. And like you, I love artwork. So like the way you reached out to him and been like, oh, I want the original pages. Certain books, I want the black and whites of. Like if I can see a black and white, no color, just the artwork of it, just the meat and potatoes of it, I'll be like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And I would love to see a black and white version of this book. It would definitely be a page turner for me. But as far as your question about the hype, a lot of times you can't really live up to the hype, the magnitude of what this thing is. And I think, like Donald said, it lit the fuse. It lit the fuse, and now the fuse is lit, and it's gonna be big. I think it is getting. Static is going to get to that point, and I'm going to bring up this point later on when we talk, but it's getting to a certain point that I want to talk about.
My hope is that it will pay off, right? Because, there was some good stuff in this first issue, right. But to the point, I want to see what comes next, right? Like, all right, enough with the Big Bang, right? Enough with that, right? Like, I want to see some action. I want to see some fighting. I want to see some good stuff coming on, and fingers crossed that we will actually get there. I want to go back to you, Steve, and then I'm going to go to you, Donald. One of the original missions for Milestone was to show this spectrum of Black people. Right, to show a range of Black folks, not just a depiction of a Black person, be like all Black people are like that, right? So as you read this first issue, we saw, I think, some texture to Virgil, right? We saw him struggle with family, with friends, with his powers, with his emotions. Did that resonate with you? That being able to see the complexity that was him, did that resonate with you?
You want me first?
Yeah, you first.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely. No, it actually did resonate with me, especially like it could take you back to that moment when I was younger. So it's like I have me being older and reading this, it brings me into that moment where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember feeling like this. I remember kind of feeling like this. Even though they're writing this for a generation that's now the now generation, I can still relate. I can still say, okay, I was that young Black man back then. So I definitely could relate to it.
I'm still occasionally volatile, right? Because he was a little like, bro, you need to tighten it up. You're a little off balance right now. But I remember being that kid that was just frustrated and being like, bah, right? Donald, what is your thought? Again, we saw some complexity with this character, which is very much, I think, in line with what Milestone was trying to do overall. Did that resonate with you? And if so, why and how?
Yeah, I think that it really did resonate with me because back in the 80s and 90s, being a nerd and being, a somewhat intelligent was not a very popular thing, especially if you were into comics or role-playing games. You were looked at kind of very strange, at a very strange angle by other people, especially if you were in school. So there was that frustration that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with these. There's, I don't know what's wrong with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So now the rest of the world is caught up. So
we have inherited the earth.
We haven't inherited the earth. That's right. So that frustration, that buzzing in the head that was depicted in, I thought that was very, very well done.
Yeah.
I thought that showed a level of complexity to Static that can go in a lot of directions. That can definitely go in a lot of directions, and it did resonate with me in that instance.
Did we see that in the first Static series? And I'm asking that question because I honestly, it's been like maybe 10 months since I read it. Did we see that level of complexity with him then? So I'm trying to get to, like, is this new, or is this something that's been pulled through from the past? Steve, I saw your head nodding there. So
yeah, I read it recently. It was the complexity for the time, like for the 90s. Like if you were raised in that time, you would know it. Like somebody read it now, they'd be like, what? But if you were raised in that time, you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. I see this, the language and stuff. So there was some complexity. It's just that it's transitioned to this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Donald, did you want to get on that?
No, I thought he's absolutely correct. I think that, in reading it, like I said, the issue didn't Static, the original Static did not start off like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but I think they did flashbacks to when he started.
Yeah. They flashback back to the Big Bang and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
one of the sections or pages that really struck me was where it was the family and how the family was interacting in the pre-Big Bang and then the post-Big Bang. Yeah. And that really struck me. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, at first everybody was having a good time around the dinner table and having, just a great family meal. And then post-Big Bang, there was a lot of frustrations and a lot of silence, and like the comic got dark. And I was like actually the tone of the comic itself was darker. And I was like, wow, like I can feel that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what they are trying to do, I think, is really well done. And I'm curious from each of your perspectives, Donald, we'll probably go to you first, is do you expect and want this spectrum of emotion, this spectrum of depictions to continue into those future episodes? Like, is that a good thing in your mind? Thoughts on that?
I definitely believe that that's a very good thing, because being that he's being reintroduced, and at the beginning of this, he is at the beginning of a journey. So this beginning of the journey, he's still finding things out. None of that is going to be resolved in one issue. It can't be resolved in probably 10 issues. There's going to be new things, new frustrations, new problems that arise that they can go anywhere with that. So I really do enjoy that that pathway that they're going down, and seeing that it's not just, I have powers and now I can save the world. Right. It's very complex. It's very it's about the same problems that Peter Parker has.
Ooh, I was literally just thinking that.
It's the same issue that Peter Parker has, or the Fantastic Four with their family issues. It's the same issue, and it's something that's good to see, especially in Black characters, because you don't necessarily see that too often. Yep. So I thought that it was very good.
Steve, did you read Icon back in the day?
Yeah. Well, no. Remember, I didn't.
No, I'm sorry. Did you read Icon recently?
I read Icon recently. Yeah.
Was it Icon or Hardware? I think it was Icon. That was more like a Black conservative. Did you get the feeling when you read that he was like a Black conservative?
I thought the same thing. I was like, he's like a politician. What's going on with this guy?
He was super hardcore, and I was like, "Ooh, he seems like a conservative." Not that that's a bad thing, not in any way, shape, or form. But it goes to my point of them trying to depict a spectrum of different types of characters. I mean, heck, a Rocket was a teen mom, which was like controversial back in the day. I mean, I was born to a 17-year-old woman who's literally downstairs braiding my daughter's hair right now, right? But I was born to a teen mom, so I understand it. But they had Rocket as a teen mom, and so I'm curious as we think about these different depictions of people being pulled through and them updating it for the present day. What might the future hold for Icon and Hardware and Rocket if they update them to present day? It'll be interesting to see what those characters look like in today's times. Thoughts on that? And again, Steve, I'm talking and looking at you.
Well, the thing is that a lot of the problems and issues we had back then are still around, you know. But to your point, what I loved about what you said, and even though that, you know, you were saying like the conversation was all great by the dinner table and then it got dark, but it was the dinner table that kind of drew me in because everybody was there, you know. So in hindsight, like a lot of people don't see that when it comes to Black America. You know, they think, oh, well, Dad's not there. You know, Dad's never there. You know, she's probably a single mom, but everybody's at the dinner table. Everybody's dealing with Virgil's problems. Everybody wants to help him. You know, it's like that's real life. It's not always the single dad or that. You know, the stereotypes that were back then are still around now, and I feel like that little moment broke that a little bit, chipped away at that stereotype. You know, so that's what I enjoyed.
So, are you saying there's politics in comics and social commentary?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying.
I just read it for the spandex, brother.
There's none of that inside.
There's none of that in comic book. Nobody puts their opinions in comic books. But it's an amazing. I can't wait to see the trip, like you said, to see these characters transition, especially Icon, because, like I said before, I watched the animations. And I love when they bring him in, like the Young Justice. He was there, him and Rocket, and I was like, "Oh, snap!" You know, it was that. And I was like, "That's I need a version of them on give me 6 episodes. It's fine. Doesn't have to be a lot. You know, I would love to see a series like that, or bring it together. But we'll talk about that."
All right, good stuff. And again, I saw that table and it did not resonate with me the same way that it did you, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I can appreciate it now that you said it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about it that way, to be honest with you. I was like, hey, the dinner, they look like they were having a good time. Like I used to have a good time sitting around the dinner table with my family, but I didn't take it to that higher level of how it might be viewed from the outside looking in for someone that did not experience that firsthand. So I'm glad that you actually raised that point.
A lot of times, it even though you had that situation at home, you know, that's not how it's depicted outside. If you look at movies, you look at TV, you know, it's always like the hardship or the Black family and struggling and this, that, and the other. I had both parents growing up. We sat at the dinner table like everybody else, you know, like.
And you ate actual food.
Yeah, and I ate actual food.
As you know, as did I. I had both parents as well, and it's just funny that sometimes just as every other people are diverse, so are we. We're probably the most diverse as far as Black people, because if you go from California, Regie, to Pittsburgh or New York, you're going to find a range of Black people that are not at all the same. Right. At all.
Well said. All. Even though all 3 of us are bald and like handsome and have great voices, we're all very different. Okay, just be clear, right? No, seriously, that's wonderful points, both of you guys. And just for those folks that are out there listening to this thing, we are talking a little bit about Milestone Comics, and we started off the conversation talking about Static Season 1 episode or issue 1, which came out a few weeks ago. Incredible issue. I think it might have been Chuck H that reached out to me and was like, you have to read Static. It is literally the best book that is out this week. I read it and he did not lie to me in any way, shape, or form. It's a fantastic read. And honestly, I cannot wait for the other books to come out. And those other books, because there's 2 more. Look at this guy. I'm not showing mine because I'm saving it for a video.
I don't know where mine is right now.
That cover right there by Dennis.
That's the one I bought. I had to buy that one.
Yep.
Oh,
I had to buy that one.
Hey, Dad's busy. Can you give me a second, okay? I was like, who is that kid?
I locked everybody down. I said, you go in your room, do not step foot in here.
Yeah.
They normally don't come in. I looked, I was like, who is that down? And I was like, wait a minute, that's in my room. All right. Sorry.
So it's a cameo. It's a cameo appearance.
My mother just got done braiding her hair, so that's why I think.
Oh, she wanted to show you. She wanted to show you. Yeah, she had to show you
what Grandma did.
Exactly.
Yeah, she'll see me.
Look, it doesn't matter about us. She got to show Daddy.
She rolled in like. All right, so there's two more books that are coming out relatively soon, and I honestly cannot wait until they come out. Icon and Rocket is set to be released on July 27th. Regie Hudlin is going to be doing the story on that one. Hardware, which I enjoy Hardware. When I reread that one, I enjoyed that one. That is coming out August 10th. Brandon Thomas, who I actually interviewed on the show, is the writer for that. He is the co-creator and the writer for Excellence. And I'm super proud of that guy for doing that. Dennis Cowan is actually doing the art and a cover for that. Like the original Milestone guy is coming back to work on this one. So that's pretty excited. And then Bill Sienkiewicz is actually doing a cover as well. And when I spoke to Brandon, he actually mentioned how intimidating it was to be working with Dennis and also Bill on these books. And he's like, when I made my pitch, I'm actually glad that I did not know that they were involved, because that would have been overwhelming. And I'm like, you know what? I respect that, because they are true legends out there. So one of the other reasons why I wanted to have you guys come back on again is to talk a little bit about Static, but also to talk about the show, or the company that is Milestone. And I found a statistic earlier today, and I want to know whether you guys are aware of this statistic, because I honestly wasn't, and I only know it because I did some Google searches. The statistic is that from 1992 to 1998, Milestone produced an average of 8 monthly titles and sold more than 10 million copies. I did not know that at all.
Didn't know that.
And you're talking about an imprint of DC selling that many books when the comic book market crashed. During that time, they still sold 10 million. I was actually impressed by that. You know, and I mean, there's still not a ton of all of their books out there, so I'm not quite sure, you know, how many of each issue and all that kind of stuff. But 10 million is still a lot, right? There's a lot of other comics that have sold a lot more, but again, for an imprint doing some of the things that they were doing, pushing boundaries, I think that that's pretty good. And I actually read something that said that they had a lot of conflict with DC because of some of the things that they wanted to do. So I think that you two are aware of that. I am still like digging into some of the details of that, but Donald, you seem to acknowledge that. What had you heard about those conflicts with DC?
The conflicts that I had read and heard about were definitely the way that certain depictions that Milestone wanted to do, DC was at odds with. With Rocket being a teenage mom, that was an issue with DC. That was a big issue with DC. And I believe that there was a cover with Static and his girlfriend with I think a condom on the table, which also was an issue. And they I think there was a compromise where they removed that piece, but there were a lot of issues because Milestone wanted to depict Black life as it was, and that ran contrary to the certain ideals of DC, of the heads of DC.
Check that out. Did you want to add anything to that, Steve?
Oh,
Again,
yeah,
I don't know if I knew about the whole condom thing.
That I knew. That I don't know if it was a condom or if it was alcohol bottle. I don't remember the details behind it, but they did have pushback from DC. And if you notice, back then there was really no advertisement from them on their regular DC titles. You know, so if you look through a lot of DC titles, you don't see a lot of Milestone advertisement for their books. You know, so at the time, for them to sell 10 million copies at a time when the company they're supposed to be dealing with was pushing back at them, That's amazing. That is amazing.
And not necessarily supporting them and driving sales and having them cross over into other titles and vice versa.
They did the crossover with
Superman.
They all crossover. I picked up the crossover. They did crossover with Superman and this, that, and the other. But
when worlds collide.
When worlds collide.
Right. That's right.
Right. But when to Donald's point is that when it push came to shove for those moments, DC backed off. DC was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not touching that right now. Yeah. But it's an amazing feat. I wish I'd have got into it sooner. I really do.
So I don't know if you all looked into this, but I honestly struggled just a little bit with understanding the ownership structure of Milestone. It isn't quite clear to me who actually owns it. It seems like it's its own standalone company. And it seems like the three principal people that own the company are some of the people that I've already mentioned. So Reginald Hudlin, who is a producer and he's done a lot of stuff over with movies and with TV shows. Dennis Cowan, who was one of the original Milestone guys, and Derek Dingle, who I think he was with Black Enterprise and also with BET for quite some time. Those seem to be the three owners. I'm not sure if anybody else owns this, but it doesn't seem like DC has ownership. It seems like they are a standalone comic book production house. Is that your impression of it as well, or were you able to find some different type of data out there?
Yeah, I'm not really sure myself, because it seems like they still are under the umbrella of DC, but like you said, they're still their own entity. So it's not like DC owns them. That's what it seems like to me. Steve, I'm not sure if you.
No, I'm not sure either, because it's a little confusing, because when, like I said, you see certain characters in the new DC properties. You see, like I said, Icon and Rocket are in Young Justice, and you're like, and in these animations. So do they own it? Are they licensing it? Are they? And then the thing is, once again, if Milestone was its own entity, why wouldn't they just go independent and just go alone at it? So somehow, I don't know what the agreement is with DC, and maybe they don't make it public, but we'll see.
And the thing is, I found some early articles, I want to say possibly from like 2011, where Reginald Hudlin was making some statements around the fact that they are exploring different things. And I think Dennis Cowan as well, that they were exploring opportunities with multiple publishers out there, not necessarily just DC, even though DC was an important customer for them. And so I don't know if that was like them positioning and trying to work a better deal with DC when they knew that it was very confusion as to who actually owns this company. When you go to like their website and you go to the About Us, you basically get profiles of the three individuals I'm talking about right now. You don't get like who we are and how we're organized. And it's like, well, can I get some additional details about your structure, But one of the things that I did find as I was reading through some of that stuff, there were some quotes, and I want to get your opinion on this quote. The company is called Milestone Media. Milestone was never just a comic book company. The name indicated being bigger than a comic book company, and now that's truer more than ever. We're going to be working on multiple platforms and all kinds of ways to present these ideas. And so I'm curious, what are your thoughts as you guys hear that statement from Reginald Hudlin? What do you hear in that statement? Donald, we'll go to you first.
Okay. Well, it seems like they are diversifying. They're basically diversifying and not limiting themselves just to comics. We all have heard the story of Static actually becoming a live action movie with produced by Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one plug in there. I think that toys is another option for them. They probably don't want to just limit themselves to comics, just like a regular LCS. They don't limit themselves to comics. They have toys, they have figures, they have cards, they have a whole bunch of other things. And I think Milestone is smart for doing that.
Steve, what's your thought on that?
No,
on this statement?
No, I definitely agree. It's media. they're going across the board.
Yep.
You know, they're going to dip their toes into everything possible. And especially nowadays, we do have these streaming services. So they're going to definitely say, okay, you know what, let's broaden our horizons. Yeah, everybody, you know, for the most part, they know who Static is. You know, Static has broken that ceiling. You know, a lot of people, you say Static, a lot of people go, oh yeah, I know. I remember it as a kid watching the cartoon and stuff like that. But you got to realize that cartoon started it all, because a lot of people knew the comics, yeah. But when that cartoon hit the kids WB and people were watching it, oh yes, I remember. Right? And then people were like, oh, what is this? You know, and they watched Static. It brought a whole different group of people into the comics as well. So, you know, they're gonna get into other things. This movie, and let me tell you, like I wanted to say earlier, Static has the potential to be what Miles is now.
Ooh.
All right. Because Static to me is kind of the blueprint for what Miles is now. If you look at Static and you look at it, yeah, they're both, you know, from that Spider-Man branch, that story, you know, the kid with the powers and stuff like that. But the diversity of who he is, and you know, his background, you know, him being black and stuff, that's Static all day. You know, so Miles is what Static is, and he has the potential to break that market, and especially done right. Done right in a movie.
That's right.
They can kill it. They can
Donald, chime in there, because that's an interesting thought. I honestly did not think of that. I really didn't.
All right, I'm going to bring up just a segue and a concern of mine as far as the comic is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they actually did that, the release that comment or that statement, because one thing that I was concerned. Well, okay, the first one I was concerned about is that they were just doing these Milestone Medias digitally. I'm like, why are you just doing it digitally? Why can't money be put into the print production to produce a comic? And I think maybe they read my mind, maybe they heard me over Amazon, I don't know. And they decided, okay, let's print this. I was like, okay, good. So my next concern is I was reading this was good. And then I read 1 of 6.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I only get 6.
See, I only get 6. I know it's season 1, but Batman doesn't have a season 1. Spider-Man doesn't have a season 1. That concerned me. I'm like, because I don't want to wait another 20 years for Milestone Returns again. You know what I mean? I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping that more and more is more, that this hype is generated to actually produce an actual ongoing series for Hardware, Icon, and Static, and more. They have so much potential to create new characters.
Why do you
latch on?
Why do you think that they did that? Do you think that it's designed to be a little bit of a ploy to drive us to actually read the comic, or do you think it's like them basically saying, hey, we don't know if this thing is going to be successful or not, so we're just going to draw a line in the sand? Like, it could either be a marketing ploy or them being cautious. What's your gut tell you about that, Donald?
My gut tells me that they are being cautious.
Okay.
Because one, with the Voldemort happening last year, that kind of shut everybody down, you know, and being a black comic, or not a comic, but a black media company, that can kind of be very intimidating, you know. But as far as them being strategic in doing this, yeah, I can definitely understand why. But I think that, like I said, we don't know the power structure of how they are under DC. You know, I am hoping that, you know, they kind of their own entity, but DC can throw them a couple million. DC can throw them a couple million just to keep going.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I'll just take 1.
Right.
I just take 1. So, Steve, from your perspective, what, and I know the answer to this, but I want you to articulate it. What is it that you think that we can do to ensure that we get more than 6 issues in a single season? Like, what's your thought about it?
Buy the book. Buy the book. Let them know. Yeah. Listen,
Yep.
The same way I wanna voice this. The same way you see what they did with the Snyder Cut. You see the voice of the people. When people say I want this, companies give you that. Okay, they could be hesitant, they could be that, but once they see the dollar signs, they're like, okay, give them everything they want. And to what Donald said, it is them testing the waters. This is the blueprint they've had forever. You know how they do. You'll get a couple of issues here, and if it's good, everybody loves the series. Oh, give them his regular series. If not, okay, we move on to the next thing. But if you want this book, let them know I want this book.
But if you remember, this is what Jim Lee said that they were going to do.
Absolutely.
They said that they were going to do diverse characters. They were going to move international. They were going to do it digital. They were going to see if there was an appetite. If there was an appetite, they were going to deliver more. He said this, and the question is, will people actually support it? There's a lot of people that are like, we want original, diverse characters. We don't want cookie cutter. We don't want you to just do this, make this little change and shade and give us this same character, just a little bit with a different shade.
Different pigment.
You see what I'm saying? This is an opportunity for you to support a truly original character that has been around for several decades, right? And you put it out there. You said he could be Miles Morales. That's a big statement because Miles Morales is dope. I'm gonna be honest.
That could be DC's Miles Morales.
Ooh, we're 100% right.
And it's literally there. It's literally there. What it is that they don't see the potential, and it's made you money before. Yeah. People are still talking about the animation. Yep. People are still talking about it. People will, it should have finished a certain way and blah, 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 this and that. You still bring in the character all the time. He was in Batman Beyond as an older version of Virgil with the dreadlocks and the gray dreadlocks and stuff. Wow. Like, this is a proven character. Like, you have to keep going with this. You have to keep going with it. And he could be there, Miles. He really can.
They really do have an opportunity here. They really do. What was done back in the 90s with these characters was groundbreaking, right? They ran into some challenges, but I think the appetite hopefully is a little different now. The environment is maybe a little bit different for them to really have some legs, and fingers crossed that this thing will be that. I think about the statement from Reginald Hudlin where he talked about, they're looking at films, at TV shows, at trading cards, at toys. And I'm curious whether you all believe, and we've already spoken about this, but I want to ask the question like super directly. Do you believe that there is enough appetite to support these type of endeavors? Will people buy a Static Shock toy? I don't even know if he's ever had one. Like, is there enough there for this to happen? Steve, I see you nodding your head, so I'm gonna go to you first, and Donald,
absolutely. There's a market for everything. If you market it correctly, you of all people know this, Reg. If you market it correctly, you can get it done. The reason Todd McFarlane is successful with the toys, he said one thing: make it cool. That's all he said. Make it cool, and he made it cool. People went and bought it. He's rich now.
And they love him. And whenever he introduces something, they're like, yep, I'll take two.
You know me, I am literally one book away from having that full collection. And anybody have a 185 sketch cover, please, God, please hit me up. But it's there. All you got to do is market it correctly. Really, when you think about it, Miles was hot. What made Miles really hot was Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yep.
Into the Spider-Verse hit, and it hit hard. It was lightning in a bottle. Everything, the animation, the voices, the music, everything came together. What's Up Danger was everywhere. For like 2 months straight, that song was playing everywhere. People switched it up to the video game and everything. All you got to do is do the same thing as Static. You make it. You can make it in animation. You can make it. Hell, you can get the same team that did Into the Spider-Verse.
Hey, just come over and change up the uniform. Exactly. Throw some dreads in there.
Throw it in there. Do what you got to do. Hell, you can have a crossover. Who cares? But if you market it correctly, especially with the younger generation, it's lightning in a bottle. You can make it spark off again, and they have it. It's right there. They just have to finish that finish line. They have to get it there. And like you said, they have the characters. You don't have to rehash the same old characters. We don't need the black Superman. Okay, yeah, I said it. Right? Like you have so many diverse black characters. You don't need that. Okay, you can show other characters. You can show so many other things. Like I'm running DC. I'm like, yo, bring me a stack of comics of characters that nobody knows about. Because Marvel was forced to do that with the Avengers because they sold everything out. You know, so they were forced to do it. DC owns every single character. So you could do it. Yeah, I think Static is primed to be the next Miles. And remember, I said it first. So Regie,
you did. I'm gonna take credit for it. Don't worry about it. Donald, get in there, brother. What were your thoughts on that? Is there enough appetite for there to be movies and TV shows and trading cards and toys and tchotchkes?
Look at all around us. We have minor characters that we've never heard of. Sweet Tooth, as you said before. And that's a fantastic show. And the appetite for comics is there right now. And I am hoping that with Static, like you said, Steve, Static is proven. He's already proven. He has more legs than Miles Morales. Miles Morales, like I said, just came out 10 years ago. And it took when did Spider-Verse come out? 4 years ago?
About that time.
Right. So that's 6 years afterwards. You have since 93. And all that information, all that story, and all that beautiful work that was done, you have it right in your lap. Yeah. So there is definitely enough appetite for DC to do it, but DC's decisions have been kind of
because of who's running it. Let me write it.
Exactly. They unfortunately they have to do what Marvel has done, release themselves from that, and get out all of the politics, put somebody who knows the character,
what they're doing.
Somebody who loves the characters and take care of and will produce something good like the Snyder Cut.
But to your point, sorry to cut you off, Brett. Right. To your point about that is that they had it. Yep. They were on track to do this whole multiverse thing, whatever. They stopped. And now what is Marvel doing? So you were trying to catch up to Marvel, and Marvel was playing your game the whole time.
Yep.
And the thing about it is that some of the people that we mentioned in terms of Daryl Dingle, I think was his name, and Reginald Hudlin, and even Dennis Cowan, these guys have been around movies and TV shows and cartoons for a long time. So technically, DC just needs to let these guys do what they probably are. I mean, I think they were involved in like the Boondocks. I mean, they've been involved in a lot of stuff. Like they help run BET, and BET was pretty successful for quite some time, right? So it's like the characters are there, the IP is there. I think that the talent is there. You have people like Michael B. Jordan that is ready to rock and roll. The three of us are ready to do voiceovers. Yes. I mean, let's just make this happen. Let's make it happen. Give me some tea and let's do this. Right?
Let's go. I just want to be the bad guy. I'm good. Exactly. I just need to be the bad guy. That's all I want. That's all I want.
You could be the bad guy, brother. I'm a be Icon or Harwood, man. Ooh, I want that black ooze thing you put on it. I want to thank
because those two I would like to do.
I'm telling you, those are good characters. I want to thank the two of you for joining me again for another conversation around this. You know, part of what I'm trying to do here, man, is to do my part to support what they are trying to do with these comics by raising some awareness. And at the end of the day, Vita has got to do her job. Vita's got to write next 5 issues have got to be good. If they're good, we'll talk about them. We'll buy them, right? Chris has got to do some fantastic artwork and people will be there to support it. I firmly believe that. So fingers crossed as we start to see these next several issues come out, that they continue to live up to the hype the same way that Nocterra and Geiger and some of these other comics are doing that, right? So fingers crossed that they do their part because we will do ours by buying those comics up. So before I let you two go, show, I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to shout out your social media, your website, whatever it is you want to talk about right now. This is your opportunity, Donald, because I haven't gone to you the last couple of times. We're going to go to you first, and then we'll go to Steve after that.
All right. You can find me on YouTube at Black Comic Characters. On Instagram, you can find me at Solly2Kings. On Twitter, Black Comic Characters. I will be probably releasing a new video, which kind of segues into what we're talking about. I'll probably be releasing that on Friday, and it's going to be a controversial one. It's going to ask, should white writers create black characters?
That's a controversial one.
Stay tuned. So I want to thank all the Gibbon Gang members, and especially want to thank Kat Jones. She's there, my wife, in the chat there. So love you, baby. Mwah.
Where is she? I don't see her in here.
Oh, she's in there.
She's in there somewhere. We'll find her. I'm sure someone has found her. Yeah. All right, Steve, over to you, brother. What are your parting thoughts here?
My parting thoughts is I want to thank everybody who's been supporting me on my graphic novel. Just want to let you guys know that I've sent out the pages to be colored. I paid the guy. It broke. My bank account was like, help me. And I was like, bye. But you can reach me at my website is cureforutopia.com. That's the book. You can reach me at s.conge, C-A-N-G-E, at Instagram. And I want to give a big shout out to a group that me and my partner Wilson has started. It's called the Comic Book Cartel. And it's a Facebook group that helps everyone in their collection. We're not really trying to make money off of it, but like we've helped so many people. Like we started off with the Spawn collections, and we just really, I would not have the collection I have right now if it wasn't for the group. The group is amazing, and we keep it, really tight, really small group. But, if you guys need something and you guys are looking for certain books, come over to the Facebook group. It's called Comic Book Cartel. All right. Let us know what you're looking for, and hopefully we can connect you with somebody that has it. And we try to keep it at a good price for everybody.
What's great is that I actually do that now. I like try to help people match up.
Yeah.
I don't get involved in the deals. Like I don't want to know how much you paid or like two people you talk. I'm out. Right.
Oh no, in the group we have like people come in, they show off books and stuff, and then somebody just goes and gets it.
That's all right.
So great.
So the two of you, if you want to send me your little links to whatever it is you want to talk about, send that to me. I will put it in the description of this video so that it makes it a little bit easier for folks. And again, I am very appreciative to each one of you for showing up and having some fun and contributing to the conversation. I'm watching some of the comments here. I mean, there's like a love fest. Like people are loving one another up in here. It's wonderful what is happening.
It's a love connection in this piece. Oh, I want my card. Y'all better stop playing with me.
Yeah, you gotta get one of these cards, man.
And I want mine with the two holes already punched out.
You gotta punch your own card, okay?
Master Blaster is not gonna do that.
They're not gonna punch your card for you. Like you.
Master Blaster's a blue wrench. He'll make it for you, but he ain't gonna punch it for you.
He gonna send me a bent up one.
The blue wrenches are amazing. They really are good people.
They really are. They're amazing.
As
Tina,
are the two of you.
Shout out to Tina. Great
OG Blue Wrench.
OG Blue Wrench. All right, guys. I'll talk to you both soon. All right.
All right, brother. Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Thoroughly enjoyed those guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion because I know that I did. These are honestly fun conversations to have when we can just invite members of the comic book community on and we just pontificate on some topic or another. And I never quite know how these things are going to go when I invite people on, but I'm always pleased that we have a good time. I think you guys enjoy it, which again is part of why we do this. So with that said, if you are watching this right now and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I want to invite you to do so now. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that gets released from the channel, like the conversation that we just had here a few seconds ago. But as always, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.